Anybody ain't on board. And I mean anybody. They fucking go.
Luciano became New York's top mob boss and began dramatically changing how the mob operated.
As part of Luciano's big picture concept, he formed the commission, brought together the 5 crime families in New York.
Luciano facilitated the killing of the 2 mob bosses, Joe Masseria and Mr. Maranzano.
In the early 1900s, Charles "Lucky" Luciano rose from the gritty streets of New York to become one of the most influential figures in American history. His name became synonymous with organized crime, but his impact was far greater. Luciano wasn't just a gangster. He was a visionary who reshaped the entire criminal underworld. He forged powerful alliances, navigated through ruthless betrayals, and built an empire that stretched beyond borders. His story is one of ambition, strategy, and a drive for power that would leave a mark on the world for generations to come. What made him the godfather of modern America? Let's find out.
You've heard the name Lucky Luciano, but do you know the real story behind America's most infamous mobster? Was he truly the mastermind who single-handedly created the modern mafia? Or is there more to the tale? Today, you'll discover the truth about Lucky Luciano.
Charles "Lucky" Luciano's story is one of the most captivating tales in American history. His rise to power wasn't quick or easy, but it was filled with calculated moves, cunning strategies, and a deep understanding of how to control people and events. Born in 1897 in the heart of the slums of Manhattan, Luciano wasn't born into wealth or privilege. His family was poor, and like many others in his neighborhood, survival meant doing whatever it took to make ends meet. Growing up in the rough streets of New York, Luciano quickly learned how to hustle. By his teenage years, he was already involved in petty crime, from stealing to running errands for more established criminals. But what set him apart from others was his ability to think big. While others focused on small-time rackets, Luciano's eyes were always on the bigger picture. He wanted to control it all. By the 1920s, Luciano was making a name for himself in the criminal world. The Prohibition era, which started in 1920, was a golden opportunity for criminals. The government had banned alcohol, but demand didn't stop. In fact, it created an even bigger market for those who could get their hands on it. Bootlegging became one of the most profitable crimes of the decade, and Luciano wasted no time in stepping into this booming business. But Luciano wasn't just a bootlegger, he was a businessman. He knew that in order to succeed, he had to get the right people on his side. And that's exactly what he did. He formed alliances with other powerful figures, both in the criminal world and beyond. These alliances would prove to be his key to success. One of his most important alliances was with a man named Meyer Lansky, who would become his right-hand man. Lansky, a brilliant strategist and financier, helped Luciano in creating an organized system to control the flow of alcohol and other illegal activities. They didn't just operate like a gang, they ran a well-oiled business, where each member had a specific role, and every decision was made with careful thought. But Luciano knew that power wasn't just about money, it was about control. In the early 1930s, he took a bold step that would change the face of organized crime forever. Luciano knew that New York City's criminal world was divided into several small gangs, each working independently. These gangs were constantly fighting for territory, which led to instability and chaos. Luciano realized that if he could unite them, he could control the entire city, and eventually, the entire country. In 1931, Luciano orchestrated a major meeting with leaders of various gangs in the city. This meeting led to the creation of what became known as the Commission, a governing body that would oversee all organized crime activities in the United States. It was a game-changing move that allowed Luciano and his allies to control every aspect of the criminal world, from gambling to extortion and, of course, bootlegging. But Luciano didn't stop there. He knew that his influence needed to stretch beyond just New York. In 1932, Luciano made another bold move by partnering with the Italian mafia, known as the Five Families. This gave him control over the largest criminal syndicates in the country. He also formed partnerships with other criminal groups, including Jewish, Irish, and even Russian gangs. Luciano's ability to bring together people from different backgrounds and make them work together was a testament to his leadership skills. Luciano's rise to power wasn't just about criminal activity. He also had a keen understanding of how to stay out of the spotlight. Unlike other gangsters who thrived on attention, Luciano was careful to remain relatively unknown to the public. He didn't flaunt his wealth or make himself a target. Instead, he worked behind the scenes, pulling strings and making deals that would increase his power. In 1936, Luciano's empire faced a major setback. He was arrested for compulsory prostitution and sentenced to 30 to 50 years in prison. However, Luciano's ability to think ahead didn't end with his arrest. He knew that he couldn't run his empire from behind bars, so he made a deal with the US government during World War II. The government, in need of intelligence on the mafia's operations in Italy, offered to commute his sentence if he agreed to help. Luciano, always the businessman, accepted the deal. He was released from prison and sent to Italy in 1946, where he continued to wield influence over his empire. Although Luciano was no longer in the United States, his impact was still felt. He remained an important figure in the criminal underworld and continued to make decisions that affected both the mafia and the world at large. His power extended beyond criminal activities, as he maintained connections with Hollywood, political figures, and even law enforcement. But while Luciano's empire was thriving, not everyone was loyal. In the 1950s, a series of betrayals rocked Luciano's world. His former allies, including some of the heads of the five families, began to plot against him. They were eager to take control of his empire for themselves, and Luciano, now living in Italy, was unable to defend himself. Luciano's death in 1962 marked the end of an era. His legacy, however, lives on. He is often credited with being the father of modern organized crime in America. His influence shaped the mafia into what it is today, and his innovative methods of running a criminal empire have been studied and emulated by many. Luciano's ability to unite different factions, create lasting alliances, and operate with a level of sophistication that was unheard of in the criminal world set the stage for the mafia's dominance throughout the 20th century. The Godfather, a fictional character made famous by the film of the same name, is often seen as a reflection of Luciano's life. While the movie is a work of fiction, it's clear that Luciano's real-life story inspired much of the character's traits. The power, the influence, and the strategic thinking that Luciano demonstrated are mirrored in the fictional world of Don Vito Corleone. Luciano's story is not just a tale of crime, it's a story of ambition, survival, and the lengths one man would go to in order to achieve power. From his humble beginnings in the slums of New York to becoming one of the most powerful men in the world, Luciano's journey is a testament to the idea that anyone, no matter where they come from, can rise to the top if they have the right mindset and the courage to take risks. But what's truly fascinating about Luciano is that he didn't just build a criminal empire, he transformed the criminal world. He turned what was once a fragmented and disorganized group of gangs into a powerful and efficient network that could rival any legitimate business. His legacy isn't just about the crimes he committed, but about the lasting changes he made to the way organized crime operates today. Even today, Luciano's influence can be felt. His legacy lives on through the networks and families that continue to operate, and his name still carries weight in both the criminal underworld and popular culture. Lucky Luciano may have passed away decades ago, but his impact is far from forgotten. Lucky Luciano's rise to power and his lasting impact on American organized crime is a story of ambition, strategy, and unrelenting drive. His ability to shape an entire industry and influence history in such profound ways is a testament to his cunning and vision. Even today, his legacy remains a powerful reminder of the man who became the godfather of modern America. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories from history.